Welcome to Ellis B. Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Hey, listen, here's what's going on. Hey, what happened to Rescue 911?
I don't know. You have to ask John. He was the one who ran in saying they were on the phone. You think he was duped?
Who isn't
Again?
that William Shatner's show?
Yes.
Rescue 911. It started out as nothing more than a typical Wednesday morning in New York. All of a sudden, a despondent man on the George Washington Bridge contemplates suicide. As he stared down at the icy December waters of the Hudson, he uses a cellular phone to issue a last desperate plea for help. Fortunately, that cry went out to none other than radio's Howard Stern. The brave, quick-thinking Stern then talked the caller out of taking his own life. This is Rescue 911. Howard Stern, a true hero, and I am TV's William Shatner. I am very, very wealthy. I am a director. I am a voiceover. I do everything.
What is it?
I have to interrupt again. Rescue 911 was bogus.
Oh, okay.
But on our phone is former mayor of New York, Edward Koch.
Oh.
Whoa.
Mr. Mayor, by now I understand that you have heard the news of what happened here on the radio.
I did.
And I'll allow you to, of course...
Who is this?
Is this really the mayor?
I'm the old mayor, the one they threw out.
No, you're the mayor.
No, I mean...
that is the mayor.
No, there have been two mayors after me.
Oh, it is him.
Yeah, it is him.
Yeah,
What, you
it's
think it was
me.
a fake?
Now, I am
guess the
calling
voice at first.
because Howard Stern, who is at the other end of this phone, has now become a national hero.
Thank you.
Right, it's wonderful.
It's true. I'm having in fact, the press is all over it. I saved the guy from killing himself.
You know, I really don't think you're going to be able to pull off this humble act. Every time somebody says you are a hero, you say, of course!
Well, he is.
Let me say something, Mr. Mayor. You've embarrassed me by calling in like this impromptu.
No, it's not an embarrassment. You are entitled to deference from every single person, particularly radio hosts, who don't do a quarter of the job that you do, and I haven't saved anybody in days.
Is it great? Listen, let me say something. Isn't it the greatest honor under God's great domain to save another human being's life?
Well, there is a Jewish saying. You're Jewish, right, Howard?
Half Jewish.
Half Jewish, okay.
Yes.
There's a saying that if you save one life, it's like saving the whole world. That's a Jewish saying.
Wow.
So you saved the whole world this morning.
Let me say something. I'm embarrassed by the accolades I have received today. I am not a hero. Let me just say something, Mr. Mayor, seriously.
It was something anybody would have done?
It was something that anyone would have done. The fact that I acted with such calm and reserve and thought clearly through the crisis, I compliment myself hardly for that because I was born with that gift.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Howard, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Since I don't know the background, why was the guy up there? What is he, a wacko?
This was a man. No, not a wacko. This was a man
I'm
working.
shocked that you should say that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is, although they did drag him off to the funny farm.
Yeah.
No, Mr. Mayor, this was a man who called in, a young man with a wife, children. He has a job. Life became unbearable for him. He saw no reason to live. It was becoming a desperate situation, and I'm sure tonight all over the news you will see me as I do this rescue.
Well, I wanted to read to you something. This is over the New York Metro News AP wire.
The Associated Press. Go ahead. Yes.
Port Authority officials say police grabbed a man who threatened to jump from the George Washington Bridge this morning while he talked to Howard Stern on live radio.
That's correct.
You know, Howard, we could turn this into a movie.
What do you mean, we, white man?
Well,
I have my own movie.
What we could do is, you're calling him, and I'm alerting all the talk hosts around the country, and then we come running over to the bridge, 10,000 of us, and say, Howard, you are our leader. What can we do to help?
Well, let me tell you something. When I heard he was jumping, I first thought it was Cuomo's campaign manager. But listen, no political humor for the mayor. Yes.
You might have said Cuomo.
Right. It could have been him.
That's true.
But let me say something.
Wait a minute. Let me just also read to you that listeners say the shock jock calmed the would-be jumper and seemingly kept him from jumping.
Yes. Seemingly. They can't give me the full good.
What was the one line that you think was your best line to him?
Well, let me say something, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I in fact, one second, the mayor has asked a question, Robin.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you one more time just to read you the final line of the story.
Yeah.
Stern called a news conference for later this morning to discuss the incident.
Yes. Now, let me say something, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
You asked me what particular line.
The one line. Yeah.
It wasn't one particular line. It was my sense of humor that kept him alive.
Oh, good.
By keeping him laughing, by keeping him engaged. In fact, I didn't sit there and preach to him about how great life was.
Yeah.
I used humor
Listen, humor will save the world. How come you can't use humor with the FCC members? Why are they on your rear end?
Because they have no sense of humor.
So they should be replaced.
Of course, Mr. Mayor, and you've always been there for me. And let me say, you were the greatest mayor that ever was.
You say I was the greatest. I would never say that.
Well, you've complimented me. I compliment you. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
All good luck, Howard.
Good luck with you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That is the great Mayor Koch,
Yes.
who I believe was the greatest mayor that ever ran New York City.
Well, nobody's been able to hold on to the job as long as he had.
That's right.
Had it. I thought that was funny. That usually heroes don't call news conferences.
Right.
I just thought that was interesting.
Well, that's a bad spin on it. I got to get my publicity man on that.
It says here, it's such a funny little item. Stern said later in the show that he indeed saved the man's life.
no humility.
No humility whatsoever.
What is it, Fafa Foley?
I just want to give you a small smattering of the press that is in attendance.
All right, go ahead.
Channel 11.
Thank you.
Channel 2.
Yes.
Channel 5.
Right.
New York Post. Daily News. There's a freelance video person who distributes to different places.
Understood.
But I think my favorite person that's out there is Steve Dunleavy and A Current Affair.
Very good. Finally.
The great Steve Dunleavy.
Well, he is an important man.
They sent their star reporter.
Thank you. Well, that is very exciting. I'm just glad I acted with grace and calm.
Now,
glad that you had the gifts and talent to keep this man on the phone.
Because of this great moment in history, I will release to the press, I am working on releasing to the press, the video of me saving this child.
Howard, we're going to...
The video?
Yeah, because we have e-cameras in here.
What we're going to do is we're going to start the press conference off with showing a small clip of that video before you come out. So there's a TV screen for them to watch.
Now you're talking.
Now let me tell you who else should be in attendance.
Go ahead.
Helen, the woman who was also on the bridge.
Thank you.
Doesn't she have anything to do?
Shh, please, Robin.
She's a big fan of the show.
Go ahead.
And also, with any luck, I hope to have the arresting officer.
Are you saying the lieutenant or the arresting officer?
Both.
Wow.
Both the lieutenant and the arresting officer.
Baba Booey out there working.
See if they can quickly draw up some kind of plank or something.
Well, there's a guy already who does who saw the whole thing.
Yes.
And he says he does sketches for the courtroom. So he said, do we want him to sketch it? I said,
yes.
You can have it here by 9:30. Sketch away.
Absolutely. Sketches would be great.
So we're probably looking at around a 9:40 start on the press conference.
Bring in a goddamn hunk of the bridge if you can. All right, very good. Let's review what's going to happen because we're minutes away from the press conference.
This is Helen, Howard.
All right,
Are the officers here?
Are the officers here yet?
No.
Are they coming?
Supposedly, we'll give them 10 more minutes.
Well, we should really get the press conference going.
Yeah, how long do you want this to last?
I told the press 9:40, so they're cool.
Okay. Get that Helen in here and I'll get everyone whipped into shape. Now, Robin, let's get our signals straight.
All right.
Fafafui's going to go out and make a briefest statement to the press.
To announce you.
To announce me. Fred's working on that now because Fafafui can't be trusted on his own.
Never let him speak extemporaneously.
And Jackie, Fred can't be trusted, so you look it over. All right. Anyway, come on in, Helen. There she is, Helen.
Well, hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen. Good to see you. You're lovely. You are. You're a nice woman, and you handled yourself beautifully. Grace under fire, I call that.
Thank you.
All right. Now, let me just hold on a second. Here's the way I see the press conference going. Don't be nervous.
She seems more nervous now than when she saved the guy's life.
No. I saved the guy's life. She assisted.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I was shaken.
Helen, believe me, there's no way he could have escaped from you. I could see that. You're very strong. You look very powerful.
There was no way he was jumping at that point.
I'm a former hooker in rugby, so he wasn't going anywhere.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're a former hooker?
In rugby.
Oh, in rugby. Oh, okay. Anyway. Listen to me, Helen. Just you relax, calm down, get used to the situation now being in the media spotlight.
Take a few deep breaths.
I've been in the media spotlight for 20 years. You have to learn to get used to it. Now, here's the way it goes. Fafafui makes a brief statement to the press, calling me a hero. Then Fafafui will introduce a 2-minute video clip of me saving the guy's life.
Ooh, very nice.
What will be seen in that video is me talking the guy down from the bridge and then the daring tackle that Helen put on him and the police. Then after that, Gary will then say, and now in person, blah, 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 the man of the hour, the whole thing. Howard Stern. I walk out. Helen will be there. You, of course, Robin, will be there. Now, when we walk out, I will say, of course, a couple of statements, and then I'll say, some people are calling me hero, and then all of a sudden I'll say, hey, listen, I'm no hero, and then that's your cue to go,
right.
Oh,
Howard,
yes, you are.
You are a hero.
Right, let's rehearse this. And by the way, members of the press, some are calling me a hero. I am no hero.
Howard, You are a hero.
No, don't
Get
say
used
that.
to it.
You're embarrassing me.
You saved a man's life. That makes you a hero.
Okay, very good. Okay. Obviously, you're a professional. You know what you're doing. Helen's the wild card here. So during my discourse on the events that happened, I will say, by the way, I'd like to introduce Helen. Helen, give me your full name.
Trimble, Trimble.
What are you doing?
I have to find a place to write it down. My notes are so full of statements that I need to... Gary, write down the following name. Helen Trimble.
Trimble.
What?
Trimble.
Trimble. So he'll write down Helen Trimble. What?
I don't know what the hell. Remember I came in here and I listed, that media that was out there?
Yeah.
Well, I blinked and they multiplied by 3.
They're like tribbles.
There's more people that were here than for either of the governor press conferences.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, this is exciting.
You know why? This is a big media expert said this is a big story on 2 counts. First of all, it really is a Christmas story. A guy despondent at the holidays. Of all the people in the world to choose to call, he chooses you.
Right.
And then the other big story is that all these police and everybody in Helen are listening to this radio show. If this
and
show
they
isn't,
all come.
If this show isn't so huge, in other words, this show is like one big community. Everyone was listening.
Nice spin. Incorporate that into your speech.
Okay.
Yes,
It'll
that
look
was
tacky
great,
if I
Gary.
say it. It'll look tacky if I say it.
This morning, something extraordinary happened to my Wolf. He saved a man from jumping off of a bridge. This shameless act makes him one of the most courageous, calm under fire people I know. First, you will get to view my Wolf being calm under adversity. Through a video presentation, you will see my Wolf, courage firsthand. Then after the tape, a short statement and brief Q&A. And now, my Wolf in action. Please watch this monitor.
It's going to be a bit difficult.
Listen to me. What's your first name? Give me a name.
I'm known by Prince. What's up?
All right, your name is Prince, or you were formerly known as Prince?
Yes, there you go.
All right, you are Prince?
Yeah.
Listen, Prince, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You see me?
Yeah.
You haven't jumped yet.
Let me tell you something. You might think life's a bed of roses for me or someone like that, but it's not.
You gotta wait till my book comes out. How
Yeah, let me tell you what you got to look forward to. You ready, Prince?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Robin's book.
Right.
I've got a couple of things planned, movie-wise.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I'm going to revolutionize the way you look at entertainment.
Yeah, you're not gonna see Howard's movie.
And if you you got any interest? Like,
What?
you interested in anything?
Now the cops are here.
So what? Ignore that. If you got turned on to anything in life, like you had a little hobby or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are exciting things happening.
You know what? You really ought to come to visit us.
Yeah.
Before you do this.
Yeah, why don't you come and visit us? I'd love to. Oh, and by the way, first of all, let me thank you for calling in. I've always wanted to help someone who was about to jump from a bridge.
What do you mean you won't come down to the studio?
What? I work nights. That would be impossible.
You can get to the bridge at this time, but you can't get to the show?
No, because today that's it. You know what I'm saying?
What is it, Fafa Foley?
Dominic Barber just called and just asked the guy one favor.
What?
Could he say before he dies that Dominic is his
Alex,
lawyer and the bridge is unsafe?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, this is, I'm a friend of yours, by the way. The police are here. They got him handcuffed now.
They got him in handcuffs? Good.
Yeah,
That's all I was doing. Once again, I kept him on the line until he jumped.
You did. I was listening and I stopped
good.
me and the lady stopped him.
Okay. And now the man in person, the hero of the hour, the courageous calm, brave and generous, heroist of heroes, my Wolf, Howard Stern.
Thank you. Thank you. Which microphone should I use here, Gary?
Doesn't matter.
Stand up.
Let me put these headphones on. All right. I can't hear anything through my headphones, so I'll just assume that I'm on the air. I want to make a brief statement before I answer any questions. I didn't know what kind of day it would be today. Every day I wake up in the morning, I prepare myself for work, I take a shower. I think every day I'm just coming in to entertain millions of people and make them laugh. But I have to tell you, something happened on my show today that was quite amazing. A man called me. I didn't know what kind of man he was. As the story began to unfold, I found that he was a Spanish gentleman, was down on his luck. He had a job, but he felt despondent. He was married with children. And here, in the spirit of the holidays of Christmas and Hanukkah, I listened to his story. I tried to remain cool and calm through the entire event. and keep him on the phone until he could be stopped from killing himself. You know, today I'm reminded of an old Jewish phrase. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiratanu b'mitzvotav v'sivanu l'chagner shel Shabbat. And what does that mean? It means if someone can save one's life.
No, one life.
If someone... Thank you, Robin. If you could save one life, then you have saved the entire world. I'll be quiet, Penny. Don't rain on my parade. I said no OJ questions and no statements. I'm going to point at you. I must tell you, when I read the book about John F. Kennedy and PT 109, I was quite impressed with Kennedy's bravery. And today I feel like a little bit like John Kennedy. Now I know how a cop feels when he walks into a crack den, or how a fireman feels pulling children from a smoke-filled building. I know how a doctor feels when he saves a gerbil from a gay man's buttocks.
Oh, Jesus.
I know more than I've ever known before. And in the past, some of you have accused me of being racist or something like this. But would a racist pluck a Spanish brother, a Spanish New Yorker, from a violent, wet, chilly death? Would a racist rescue a foreign brother from a suicide plunge that would have left his wife and 18 children and 45 relatives homeless? I ask you. I would have saved any New Yorker, whether he be a black man, a white man, a Jewish man, a Christian man. I would even save a Chinese man. Well, maybe not a Chinese man. I don't know. Of course I would. I would save anybody.
You've forgotten the Muslims.
I would save a Muslim. To my Muslim brothers, I say salam aleichem. Aleichem salam. Some have even had the nerve to call me a hero today, but I must tell you I'm uncomfortable with that term. I am not a hero.
Yes, you are, Howard. You saved a man's life. You've got to get used to the idea that you're a hero.
I'm not comfortable calling myself a hero, Robin. I did what any human being would do.
Not everyone does these kind of things. You're a hero.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'm embarrassed to hear it, but if you consider me a hero, fine. But
You're a hero to me.
Thank you. I extended a helping hand to a person in distress. Yes, I remain calm. Yes, I remain collected. Yes, I took control of the situation. But it was not heroic. By the way, before I open up the floor to questions, you've heard the tape of me saving this man's life. An artist was actually on hand to sketch what went on. This is an actual police artist who is a fan of the show. This is the gentleman calling me from the George Washington Bridge with his cellular phone. As you can see, I'm on the phone talking with him when a woman, and it is this woman named Helen Trimble. Trimble, whatever. Helen came running out of her car and tried to talk the man into coming off the bridge. And then finally, as you can see in this picture, this is the police coming and apprehending the man after I held on to this man and kept him from jumping. I'd like to address Helen right now. Helen, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions from the press, but tell us what happened.
What happened today, I was listening to your radio station, as I have for many years, and I heard this man talking, saying that he was looking at a police helicopter, and you said you made a plea to your fans, please come, my loyal fans, please come to my rescue. And I was looking on the bridge for a man talking on a cellular phone. He was easy to pick out, and he was standing just as that picture depicted, looking down in the water. And I stopped my car in the middle of the bridge, jumped out, and ran and put a hug on him. I got on the phone and spoke with you, and I held him there until his body, he was so despondent. It was terrifying. I'm still shaking from that. He was shaking, and he was talking to you, and then his face would lighten every once and laugh. I don't know what you were saying to him, but he would lighten up, and slowly he started to relax a little bit more, and then another one of your fans stopped. And
now demonstrate the hug on me. What kind of hug did you put on the man? As he held the phone, show us exactly what happened.
Well, at first I got him from behind and held him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
As tall as you.
I see.
And then I just stood there and held him.
I see.
He was shaking
I see.
terribly. And
what did he look like?
He was Hispanic. He looked like a normal, all-American guy of Hispanic
Could
heritage.
you tell he was in distress?
Oh, yes.
So would you in fact say that it was my ability to make this man laugh that actually saved his life?
He told me that you were the only one that he felt could really help him in a straight and forthright, honest way. And it was amazing. The thing that stands out in my mind, he had a big cross on his neck. He said, not even my faith in God, he said, was enough. I needed to hear a voice that would talk back to me and give me the faith and courage to go on.
Wow.
Well, that is unbelievable. Let's take a moment to reflect on what Helen has just said. I think we all need to take a breath and think about it.
A moment of silence.
A moment of silence and collect our thoughts about how tremendous that statement just was. Would have been a lot better if you cried.
I was trying to get her there. She had to think about the look in his eyes. You stopped her.
No, she's very shook up. I'm going to sedate her later with some Prozac. If there are any questions now for myself or Helen.
One thing that we didn't point out was the community of listeners that came to this man's aid. Not only Helen, but other listeners were there. The cops who came to his rescue were listening on their radios to the show this morning and knew that there was a man in distress.
A lot of people have commented on the size of this audience, that everyone on that bridge in unison was listening to the program. The cops, the helicopter reporters, everyone.
There were cars stopping, everyone yelling out, Howard, is that Howard's man?
Is that right?
They blocked the whole bridge. The whole bridge was blocked both ways, yes.
Is this going to set a trend? You know, potential suicide victims always taking their cellular phone with them, Howard?
Well, I don't know. One can only hope that more suicide victims will call me, and I will get all of the credit.
I would never say this.
Go ahead, Penny.
I would never say this, and to respect, I know that the senators and congressmen and everybody called you today.
Thank you.
But there are some, not I, who are saying this is a major scam, that this is a publicity stunt. Don't look at me like that.
Well, let me say something, Penny.
I will tell you one thing, too. Excuse me, Howard. There was no scam. This man was shaking, very upset, and distraught.
And you just jumped out of your car on your own.
I know you would never do that, Penny, because you don't care about people.
It's not that easy.
Penny's very selfish. Right.
It's not that easy to do because there's railings you have to. You vaulted the railings?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Penny, let me say something. First of all, I believe that would be a criminal offense to actually sit and stage something like this and use the police in that manner.
This was not staged. This was not staged at all. I'm going to work. I'm not even at my job today.
I assure you that I have never met Helen before. Only Howard Stern would be challenged in such a way.
Let Penny investigate. That's what she wants to do.
I invite you to do a full investigation, all right?
You said this has been a humbling experience.
If I had set this up, Helen would have been a stripper. All right? Think about it.
Maybe it works better this way.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe it's more believable.
Well, whatever you are a very evil person, Penny, and you have very evil thoughts.
You see something devious in this.
Right. Obviously, you've not been made love to in a while. I'm sorry. Yes, let me recognize this woman, and then I will recognize you. Yes?
You've said this has been a humbling experience.
Where are you from?
Channel 11 News at 10.
No, that's your problem. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Oh, you saved one of her brothers.
Why even bother showing up? No one's going to watch it. All right, go ahead.
How long can you stay so humble? You said this is such a humbling experience.
Well, let me just say I am uncomfortable being called a hero because to me, I guess you could say I do heroic acts every day. I just don't recognize them. This is other people calling me a hero. Isn't that right?
Will you be establishing a suicide hotline possibly?
People have approached me on dealing with these topics in other ways. People have contacted me for public service announcements.
You're open to No Excuses Jeans endorsements for your foundation?
As a matter of fact, that is true. I'm thinking of linking up with No Excuses Jeans and see what else can happen with that. Yes?
Is there any truth to the rumor that you might make your video available again?
That is true. In honor of this occasion, I found 1,500 additional videotapes that I could sell. Those are the last ones left, and I wanted to get rid of them. So in honor of this day, I would do that, yes.
Howard, through your mind when you...
I'm sorry, wait a second. Where are you from, ma'am?
Hard copy.
Excuse me?
Hard copy.
Do they only hire Australians over there?
I'm from England.
Oh, you are? Okay, go ahead.
Can I ask you, Howard, what was going through your mind as you were talking to this man?
Well, I knew we had a serious situation. Once I determined that this truly was a jumper, I said I have to keep this man laughing. I knew through my own cunning I could do this. Knowing that he was a fan of the show, I quickly said to myself, Howard, keep this guy laughing. This is a guy who lives for your show. He lives to laugh. And through a series of jokes, I kept his spirits up. And in the back of my mind the whole time, I just kept thinking, I'll keep him laughing until the cops get there.
Do you really think that this guy...
I'm sorry, 1 second, Petty. You can't monopolize my party.
What? Do you know how long you were on with him?
I believe I was on with him for a period of...
Do you have the time?
Say it was somewhere between 4 and 7 minutes.
Somewhere between 4 and 7 minutes.
Howard, inside edition here. I want to know, why did he choose you?
Well, I believe, you know, we are the #1 radio show across the country. And the reason that it is the #1 radio show is because the show is so open and honest. And because the show has a meaningful message.
There's a heart there.
It reaches out to people.
But why you? What could you do for him that other people couldn't do?
Well, as Helen just said, God really did not answer this man's prayers. He needed a voice. He needed someone who, in place of God, someone he could think of who would make him laugh, who would make him feel like he needed to live. Through laughter. He knew I was the one man on the planet that could get him laughing again. That's why I believe he chose me.
Howard, I'm Caroline
It's
from
a higher
Extra.
authority than God. That's correct.
Howard, Caroline from Extra. Is it too late
Caroline
for
from
this?
where?
Extra.
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 Well.
Is it too late for this incident to make it into your movie? And if so, who would play Helen? Who might play the jumper?
Well, I don't know if we would trivialize such an event.
There's a hard news show.
Yeah.
How does this compare to your experience in Vietnam, your tours of duties? Does it give you redemption for the villages you
I
took
served my country. I never felt it was wrong to take out entire villages with my helicopter. I never saw any problem with that. I did what I had to do to win that war. And quite frankly, I did what I had to do today.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that's... I mean, I'm not monopolizing. I'm asking a second question.
You are monopolizing, but go ahead,
Do you think
Penny.
this guy got up this morning, got a cell phone, got your phone number? I mean,
Some people do have cell phones.
Yeah, I know, but if he's bent on killing himself...
I think
He might
that...
just have one in his car.
I think that a married man with children who, the only person we can go by is Helen. She says she saw the look on this man's face. This was a guy ready to go over the
And
bridge.
this is not a scam at all.
100% true, not a scam.
Any indication why he was doing this? He had a job.
He
had
said
a family.
that, to quote him, he said that he didn't really see a reason to go on. He had a wife, he had children, but he just felt like ending it all. And there's been other days where he felt like ending it all, but today it really got to him and he went out on the
It
bridge.
is the holiday season, which is often a high suicide time and depression time.
Yes, where are you from?
Noreen Lark from Channel 2.
Channel 2 News, yes.
How humble
Finally, a
is
real
this?
channel.
How humble is this, holding a major news conference after this very humbling event?
Well, so much of the press has demanded to speak with me after this. I said to Robin immediately after the event, I do not want to speak to the press.
But I urged him to do this.
I did it because I felt, as I am a member of the press, I feel that we are all brothers and sisters here, that if one of us steps out and does something courageous, we have a right to come forward and meet with the rest of the press and say what happened here.
Besides all that, you get denigrated by the press all the time. Why shouldn't you point out when you do something good?
As a matter of fact, I'm sure my brothers and sisters of the press will figure out a way to denigrate me over this.
Penny's already got her angle.
Yeah, Penny already's got me figured out. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, you talk to the guy on the phone. What about the cops that do this day in and day out and save lives? And they don't have the media, hard copy, a current affair, everybody show up. But you're such a star that you talk on the phone. You save some guy from jumping.
Well, let me say something that I believe the police are very brave. I think the police in the city, yesterday we saw a funeral for a cop where a lot of the media actually ignored the fact that a cop was shot, and it was rather distasteful. My heroic acts have been ignored in the past as well. So, finally, I'm being recognized for a heroic act. I believe the police should be recognized as well, but that is your problem, not mine. You should be recognizing the police for their heroic acts. You're the ones, and the firemen, yes.
Do you feel any further obligation?
I'm sorry, wait a second. Can we get the microphone back there? It's hard to hear. Yes.
I'm from CNN. Do you feel any further obligation toward this man, or is now you're out of it, or what?
Well, let's look at it this way. I don't know if they need me to step in. I'm thinking about stepping in. If it's up to the police and the psychiatric social workers to contact me and say that they need me involved in this.